Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I am a massive fan of all things film and movies and pop culture, and I'm also a massive collector. And today I want to talk about all of the movies that I watched in July this year. Once again, according to my list, I watched 13 movies in the month of July. The last few months, I have accidentally ended up just watching 13 movies, and I've been trying to watch more. Yeah, here we are again with 13 movies watched. So within my list, 7 of these movies I had not seen before. The rest were rewatches, and 3 of the movies that I saw this month were seen in the cinema. I have also been trying to set a goal as of the last 2 weeks to try to watch at least 3 movies a week, and I'm trying to watch more movies that I haven't seen before because there are so many out there and my watch list is never ending. And within my collection of 1,600 movies, whatever the amount is at this point, there are like a certain percentage of movies that I have not sat through yet, and I want to get through them because potentially my favorite movie of all time has not been watched by me yet, and I need to get onto that. But for now, here are all the movies that I watched in July. So the first movie that I watched in July was one that I had not seen before. I was very excited to watch this movie. It had been on my list for a while and I saw it in the cinema, and that movie was F1. I loved this movie. I thought it was so much fun. I thought it was so cool to see in the cinema. I loved the movie from the opening sequence. A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin is used. That is a bit of a spoiler, but the way that that is used and the way that it engages the audience, or at least it engaged me, was so fantastic. I love an amazing opening sequence in a movie, and to me this movie exhibited it because the opening of a movie is borderline crucial to engaging you the whole time, especially in this time where people get so distracted and an audience has the potential to like have their mind wander off, or if you're at home to like go on your phone or whatever. Those like first few minutes are like crucial in engaging you and pulling you in and making you care. And to me, F1 is a great example of how utilizing a certain song in a certain moment brings you into this whole world that you don't know or that you're about to be introduced to. With that said, I loved the rest of the soundtrack too and the score. I thought it was fantastic, and then I bought the CD because that's needed, and I'm a massive advocate for the concept of a film soundtrack and needle drops and how important those are within movies as well. And to me, this one has that. Of course, like, yeah, Led Zeppelin is used and songs that we know. And then there are also like brand new songs by like artists that we know and love. And, you know, Messy to me is a highlight from this album. So is the Dom Dollar song. Ed Sheeran has a song on this album, which is fantastic as well. And Lose My Mind by Don Toliver and Doja Cat is one that I've been listening to a lot as well. F1 was also directed by Joseph Kosinski, who also directed films like Top Gun Maverick, which is a fantastic film, which I also saw in the cinema. To me, F1 is a highlight of movies that have come out this year, so I was very happy to see that in the cinema. Number 2 on my list is another movie that I saw in the cinema, and that movie is Friendship. Here's a poster that I got at the cinema. Now, this movie was one that I did not know much about. I obviously know these two actors and comedians, and I could gauge the type of humor that I was going to encounter. I also saw this a week before its opening, so I was with a group of people that were excited and knew what to expect vaguely based on this type of humor. I do have to say, seeing this movie is one of the best cinema experiences I've had, maybe of all time, or at least in a long time. It was packed full of people and everyone laughed at all times. Nothing fell flat. People were laughing. I was laugh crying because I was so entertained and thought it was so funny. And I enjoy offbeat humor and things that are awkward and uncomfortable. And I think that I was in a cinema full of people who get that. I do think that if you don't understand this humor, that it might come across as a bit much, or you might not get it and be like, oh, why is this funny? But that goes with a lot of comedies. If it's not your sense of humor, then it's a bit harder to grasp. I was glad to sit in a cinema personally and be able to laugh and cry through a movie because I was enjoying it so much. When honestly, I don't remember the last time I saw like a full-on comedy in the cinema. Number 3 is the Care Bears movie, which again is a rewatch that I've seen ever since I was a child, and this year I have rediscovered it as a movie that brings me comfort. It's one that I've just like turned to late at night when I can just like put it on and have no thoughts and just enjoy pretty animation of an animated movie from 1985 with the Care Bears in it. Number 4 on my list is John Waters' film Hairspray from 1988. This movie I had seen bits and pieces of over the years, like on TV and late at night and all of that, and obviously I knew that the concept of Hairspray the musical came from John Waters' original film. I have seen maybe 4 John Waters films at this point, and I do think out of the 4 that I've seen, this is probably the more like accessible to watch. I think like sometimes he can be a bit full on, and I love that, but I do think that this is a very easy watch. It is pretty, it's fun. It stars Ricki Lake and Divine, and it's a very short watch as well. I do think it's interesting now that, because in my opinion Hairspray the musical has kind of taken over what the concept of hairspray is within pop culture rather than like this film, I do think that people should revisit this one and like get the full picture of like how, you know, the musical came to be, and you know, these original characters, and it's always worth sitting through a John Waters film. So yeah, Hairspray. Number 5 is a rewatch and a movie that I could go on about for years, honestly. I've seen this movie 1,000,001 times. I could watch it another million more, and this movie is Prince's film Sign of the Times. This is a concert film directed by Prince. It features mainly songs from his album of the same name, which in my opinion is one of the greatest albums of all time. To me, this is like the greatest concert film of all time. I think it is extremely underrated. I think that it should be a must watch for everyone. I could watch it 1,000,000 more times, like I said before, and I know it beat by beat. I think that somehow Prince has become somewhat underrated, which is very bizarre to me. I'm someone that's like grown up on Prince, and I know every song by heart, no exaggeration. And I've seen Prince live 3 times in my life. There's a certain amount of joy that I personally get from watching this, and a certain amount of inspiration that comes with listening to and watching Prince. So if you have not had the privilege to sit through this film, I think that you should, and I will recommend it to everyone forever and ever and ever. Number 6 is Pride and Prejudice from 2004. This movie is a rewatch. I saw it a lot when I was a kid because it would just randomly be on TV, and it was my first introduction to Pride and Prejudice. So this is like a Bollywood adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. It is so much fun. I think that if you love the story of Pride and Prejudice, this is like a great adaptation to watch. It is directed by the same director who did Bend It Like Beckham, and that movie is always a fantastic watch as well. This movie has everything. It is stunning. It has fun songs. It's pretty, and it's just so fun to see this story reimagined in this way. Number 7 is Echo Park from 1985. This is a movie that was on my watch list for the last 5 years because I like the actors in it, and I found it a couple years ago, and so I just had this movie sitting on my shelf for a while, and for whatever reason I was drawn to it the other week and I watched it and I really enjoyed it. It's about people pursuing their dreams whilst having, you know, pizza delivery jobs and jobs as strippers and all of that, all in the name of like the pursuit of their dreams, like wanting to be actors and musicians. And it's a story that, you know, we've seen time and time again, but it's one that I always enjoy seeing and, you know, relating to, and just seeing people trying and being so drawn to something that they need to do, that we get to see people succeed within these movies, or maybe they're working towards it at the end still, but we get to experience it with them, and I always enjoy that concept of a film. Number 8 is The Simpsons movie from 2007. This is a movie I've seen over and over again. I saw this in the cinema when I was a kid when it came out. The Simpsons is my favorite show of all time because to me it's not a show, it's just like part of me, and I love watching clips from it. I love watching the show, and I love, you know, having it around me. It just exudes comfort, and it is so clever and so funny. I feel the same way about this movie, and whenever I'm like in the mood for Simpsons and I like can't watch the show for whatever reason, I'm very happy to put the Simpsons movie on again for like the millionth time and just like sit and enjoy it. The jokes are always funny to me in this. These characters again bring me comfort and make me laugh all the time. And I rewatched this on like a random Saturday night a couple weeks ago, and it was just so much fun to just sit through it again and enjoy it, and I will never not enjoy anything to do with The Simpsons. Number 9 was a movie that I saw in the cinema, and I saw it in 3D and 4DX. If you don't know what 4DX is, it means that your chair moves and like you get sprayed with water if there's water on the screen, and water flies from the roof and you move around and you nearly get flung off your chair if you're like me, and you end up gripping onto your armrests because you might go flying forward. Yeah, and that movie was Superman that I saw. I was really intrigued to see Superman in this way rather than just normal. I am like a fan of the original like Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve ones, because I grew up on them. That was my introduction to Marlon Brando. My grandma pointed him out when I was like 8 or whatever. Like I knew his name because of a Superman movie. Superman 2 out of the 4 of them is my favorite. That's one that I've seen a few more times. I enjoy this character and I enjoy the stories that come of it. Superhero movies in general are like not my favorite thing, but I will like give it a try. And so I was actually like really happy that I enjoyed this movie and that I enjoyed seeing it in this way where it was, you know, extremely immersive and you don't have time to let your mind wander because your chair's shaking and you're flying around with Superman. So I thought that was really cool, and I enjoy that advance in like cinema technology. Number 10 is another rewatch, and again one that I have seen probably a couple times this year again. Happy Gilmore from 1996. Well, this is a movie I've been watching since I was a kid. It exudes comfort to me. It makes me laugh every time. I did rewatch it in anticipation for Happy Gilmore 2, which I still have to watch, but I'm excited to see because again, I watch anything Adam Sandler does. I love Happy Gilmore. I love so much about it, and that reason I'm always content to rewatch it, or if it's on TV to sit through it again, because it is just one of those classic comedy films at this point. Number 11 is 17 again from 2009. This is a movie I've seen multiple times and I associate it heavily with Friday nights, I think, because I just used to end up watching it on like a Friday night whenever it was like on TV. It transports me to like the late 2000s every time I watch it, and again, it's one of those movies that exudes comfort, and you know, Zac Efron is fantastic in this movie and it's so fun, and I love the soundtrack and I love like the house that they live in the movie. I rewatched it late on a Saturday night because it was on TV and I just like let it happen, and again, it just made me happy to sit through it. And we all need movies like that bring us like comfort and make us laugh, and that are a constant for us. Number 12 is In the Mood for Love from the year 2000, and this is a movie that for some reason this year I've had multiple people be like, you need to watch this, you need to watch this, and so it was like on my priority to watch list, and the other week I was like, it's time, I'm going to watch it, and I did, and it's a wonderful movie, and I thought it was so beautiful and it's visually stunning. There's so much happening under the surface, and it's a movie now that I think about a lot, and whenever I see stills from it I'm like, you know, I do need to explore more of this director's filmography. Majority of his films are on my watch list and I need to get to them, and especially if they're going to be as good as this, then I'm very excited to watch. Number 13 and the final movie on my list of the movies that I watched in July is The Bicycle Thieves from 1948. The Bicycle Thieves is an Italian film. It is one that was on my list for a while, and again I was pushed to watch it, and I'm so glad that I was. I thought it was a heartbreaking movie. It's beautifully shot and it's in black and white, and it's got that beautiful essence of Italy whilst having it almost like drained from it based on like the circumstances of the film, which I will let you watch, no spoilers. That movie was a really wonderful watch. I watched it like during the day. I never really watch movies during the day, and there was something about that whole experience which was actually like really comforting to me, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I'm tempted to do that more. But yeah, that movie, The Bicycle Thieves, was a wonderful watch and I highly recommend. So that is my list of the 13 movies that I watched in July. I am hoping to watch more movies that I haven't seen before in the next month and months to come. I really want to get through my collection and watch as much as I possibly can, and I'm very excited to do that. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.